Welcome to Tami's Soul Speak, featuring animal intuitive and medium Tami Hendricks, offering insight, spirituality, transformation, and clarity to every soul. Now, here's Tami.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday, as always, when we come together, wherever you are in the world, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever your weather is. Weather is crazy, crazy, crazy. I'd love to hear where you are when you're coming into the room and telling me what the weather's like in your neck of the woods. Here in Asheville, it's been warm the last few days. I've had bike rides, I've seen bears, I've seen mama bears. So there's a lot going on here outside, and then it's turning into a real cold snap. So you never know. Um, so as you come in, Kat's in the room. It's good to see you. You're in warm weather in Florida. That's so nice. It's a little cold snap here today, Kat. Hi, Katrina. What's the weather like in Italy? Tell me. I'd be interested to know. And then, hi, Peggy. It's good to see you. Gloomy today and cooler in Murfreesboro. I can't pronounce that ever, but I know what it is, Tennessee. I don't want to even try. Um, and everybody's, oh, hey, Amanda, it's good to see you. um, so yeah, it's nutsy weather, and the energy fluctuates crazily with that. And Peggy's coming into the room. Gloomy today where you are, again, and then Lucy, lots of snow. And D, upstate New York. I bet it's cold and windy. Hi, Patricia. British Columbia, Canada. Sun is shining beautifully. Yay. And Diane, good to see you. Hi, Jennifer. It's cloudy and breezy in Las Vegas. And Wendy, Connecticut. Cold and let's see, windy and cold with the rain. Amy, it's good to see you. Oh, Joy, I'm sorry you had problems logging on, but here you are. So good. um, Oh, Katrina says it's warm and sunny. Wow. Um, Kat is telling us she gets to watch pelicans play in the Gulf. Wow. I love that. Hi, Tara. Good morning. It's good to see you again. I appreciate you joining us. Appreciate all of you coming in from Oregon and Philly. Katie is windy. And hi, Patty. It's good to see you. Um, Oh my goodness, all of you are coming in. Some of you, like Martine, you've got rain. What is up with this weather? I guess, no, I know what it is. It's March, right? It is so March. March is a huge transition month, just from winter to spring, and windy and not windy. Yesterday, when I was out on my bike, I was questioning my sanity because there were like 25 to 30 mile an hour gusts at certain times, but the trees here sort of cushion that, except when it doesn't. So I was like, you get right back and you get off that bike, young lady. So any rate, it's good to have you all here. Um, Animal lovers that you are, this show unfolded in the most beautiful of ways. It's a very, we always say it's live. Oh yeah, this is a live show. It's getting liver all the time too, by the way. So, you know, animals are always behind things and in our lives, always a part of the journey we take, right? And so they serve as mirrors in so many ways by showing us a picture of ourselves moment by moment, right? Animals don't cloak, and we usually don't cloak in front of the animals. We usually show our true selves with them. But they show us our own emotions, and through their behaviors and their attitudes we learn a lot through the animals, and hopefully we become more aware as humans, from our interactions with them, uh, and hopefully we become better because of them. I know, I'm a better person today because of all the animals in my life and all the experiences I've had, and I think probably a lot of you would say the same. So I have a question for you. How many of you can instantly pull up a favorite memory with your pet? Just instantly call it forth. Or is a memory with wildlife or someone else's pet Does anything come to mind really quickly? Anything that's happened recently? You know, our animal companions show up in so many ways and are heaven sent. And I had an experience just when was it? Monday? Yes. Um, so I'm getting ready for the show. I've got my energy on it, and I'm actually walking Scarlet, and I started hearing, and when I say hearing, it's like an internal hearing. I started hearing the word pretzel, and I was like, "Well, where'd that come from?" And so I kept hearing it, and I thought, "Gosh, that is a really cute dog's name." And then I thought, "Oh, it feels like a dog's name." And then I had the feeling like, wonder if, you could use it for a girl or a boy dog. And then I was like, "No, this one feels like a boy, actually. I don't know. This feels male." So I'm walking, and this happens like pretty much all day where it kept popping in. And I even heard, "Oh, you could call the dog Prezi." So then if you live in my world, if you've lived my life, I start like really being careful because I've had animals show up after a dream, after, a lot of different things somebody mentions. And so I was kind of like, "Oh my gosh, is there a pretzel coming?" Well, sure enough, there was a pretzel coming that evening through one of the questions that someone submitted with her little dog Pretzel who had passed. So to say that your animals are coming forward and joining the group, to say the least, is the truth. So when you come, your animals come, and a lot of times they precede you. A lot of times they come ahead of time. So I thought that was so cool. I wanted to share it with you so that you are the ones generating this energy and with the animals, and it's creating quite uh, a group. It felt very alive and very just everybody was super excited. So yes, my dog just passed. That was Pretzel. Oh yeah, Michelle, Pretzel came forward. If that was you that put that in, oh yeah, it was very strong. And a lot of times I will definitely feel your animals coming, and they will help me add some things that I had forgotten. So thank you for that. Thank you for coming. So I see a lot of you uh, said yes. I have memories just like that instantly. We can recall those. They're part of us, right? Those memories. And since moments matter, in my opinion, it would behoove us to be on the lookout at all times because, Renee, if you would put up that first slide, memories are created in the moments of our lives. That's a really powerful thing to kind of take in because we are not often realizing that that's what we're doing, that every step matters. And that doesn't mean it has to be the perfect step, it just means that it's the next best step. My mentor, Sharon, that I've mentioned before, always would tell me when I was having so many activities with the animals, and she would say, "Tammy, you always know the next best step. That's all we can know." And I've always taken that in, right? I've always felt like, well, I know how to do that. I may not know how to do the whole thing, but I know what's right in front of me to take. Um, so I have a question. I'm full of questions. If you were asked at the end of your life what your favorite part or memory was, what would it be? Do you know? Have you ever thought of that question? What would it be? I'd be interested to know if you put in the comments. I know for me, often I've mentioned animals, bears, lots of different things. Some of us might say our children. What would yours be? Like to see. Kat said, the birth of my children. Mm. Marianne riding in the car with my dog Lily. I love that. I bet you can picture it exactly what it looks like too. Call it up. Call it up now because a lot of this is what we're doing right now. We're going to be using as we go through the show, which is more a gathering, You know how it rolls. It's a show, but it's all the animals, everybody's coming together around the table to talk. Joy says, "Shelter, work, and time with my cats." Yes, I like that. Isn't it interesting how we can pull that and know it in just answering really quickly? Jeff said, "When Daisy came into my life." I love that. They're markers, aren't they? They're memory markers. Susie, all my cats coming into my life and volunteering with horses. Jennifer, quiet time with my dogs. D, watching my grandchildren being born and holding them right after. Oh, D, how beautiful. I love that. Cindy says, running in agility trials with my dog. Is that Danny? I may be mispronouncing that, Cindy. Is it pronounced like Danny, Danny? You'll have to help me. It's the English teacher in me, sorry. Um, Nancy says, all the animals that have shared their time and love with me. Wow. Isn't it interesting how we're all like centering around the kids and the animals? It's there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that that we'll talk about in a little bit. Adrian says, so many to name: birth of my children, wedding day, adoption days, camping with my family and pups. Ah, Danny. Okay. Thank you. Katrina says, naps with my mom and our cats. I remember those photos. I remember them well. What a great memory. So, Renee, if you'd put up that next slide, I've mentioned this before. Do any of you recognize where that comes from before I like give you a spoiler alert? What movie does that come from? Just curious. So, it's a little girl walking off with somebody. Ah, you're getting close. Yep, yep, that's right, Jennifer. It's Nicolas Cage. What movie is it? And there's a reason I'm bringing it up. It's like one of my favorite scenes ever. Amy says, City of Angels. Yes, 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 yes. So if any of you haven't seen that movie, it's really, really good um, for a lot of reasons, in my opinion. Um, Close, Sixth Sense. Yeah, you didn't know this was going to be a quiz show, did you? Um, so, like in the City of Angels movie where the little girl has passed, that's a scene where she's passed, her parents are crying, and it shows her walking off hand in hand um, with an angel. And the angel asks her, it was the sweetest thing, what was the best part? And she answers, pajamas. And they just keep walking toward the light. Pajamas. Tell me this, yes, Kat says yes. Goo Goo Dolls had that beautiful song called Iris, and that song just played this morning. Of course it did. All the angels and animal angels are in this show with us, in the room, at the table with us. So tell me this, when you see that scene, when you hear what her answer is, what happens? What happens in you? Is there anything that goes on just immediately with your body? What does your heart do? Jennifer says she smiles. Anything else? I agree. We smile and we feel connection. Deanna says tears. That's such a, it's an empathy, it's a connection, it's a compassion. Peggy says cry. Barb says a softening. Amy, don't forget the small things matter most. I'm teary here. I'm sorry. Another Amy says, I'm teary eyed just hearing about it. I know, right? Now, you know what I'll have to do this weekend, of course, is watch that movie again. So our hearts soften at the sheer sweetness of the answer, right? So, what if the little girl had answered animals? Does that have the same ring of sweetness and heart opening? It does for me. I call what we're experiencing with this as a warmth in our heart. I call them heart smiles. Have you ever had your heart smile? Any of you know what I'm talking about? It's it's this smile that emanates from the inside out, and it makes it all the way to your face, but your heart is smiling. Martine says, "Yes." She knows what I'm talking about. Do you all agree heart smiles? And, don't we need a lot of that these days especially? So who are the keepers of heart smiles? Which we've sort of answered. Animals, babies. Who doesn't smile when a baby starts gurgling and laughing? You just can't help it. Um, children, that's why we love being around them so much. You know what else? In the very moment your heart smiles, your blood pressure drops, your vibration raises, and light literally floods your body. It's a thing. Deanna says puppies. Absolutely. Barb says nature. Martine, genuine kindness. I agree. I was a recipient of some genuine kindness not too long ago, and it was just so wonderful to experience. It just opens your heart, and your whole vibration raises, and guess what? It puts you right in the receiving mode. So I'm like, we all need to have this mantra, more of that, please. More of that. So animals have this natural ability, just like children, puppies, babies, to make us feel more whole, even in a fragmented world. And that doesn't mean it's easy, but it means that we have constant reminders to be in the moment, to be where the animals live their life only 100% of the time, not part of the time. They're not like the thinker statue where they're thinking somewhere. They're present with us. They're present with their lives. And so, as I've shared, as I've experienced many animal passings, and I'm sure will some more, I found there's a process and, a journey of growth that we get catapulted into. Some call it soul growth. I would agree with that. Others may call it a soul quake. As talking to you and seeing some of your questions, I'm pretty sure all of you know what a soul quake is and have had some experience with that on some level, whether it was animals, whether it was people, whether it was with a profound change and loss. No matter what we want to call it, it's a profound journey of life, loss, and love. Here's the piece, though, that I want us all to continually reach for. And Renee, if you would put that slide up. Love is always, and I specifically spelled it that way and separated out, present no matter the circumstance, even if they've crossed the rainbow bridge, especially if they've crossed the rainbow bridge. And so it's something that if we continually remind ourselves of that, it it helps bring us back to center, bring us back to the present moment awareness in our hearts. So I'm a big believer in no regrets. That is, given what we know in the moment, we all do the best we can given the circumstances. And I know I haven't always felt that way about myself, because the past has a way of pulling us back, right? It has a way of pulling us back, and then we get stuck in it. Um, I wanted to share, and Jennifer says, yes. Well, I made it 20 minutes before crying. Sorry. I tell you, I need to get you all like Soul Speak Kleenexes that I can send out to everybody ahead of the show. Um, and I have some in here for me just in case I start as well. So I sorry about that. Um, so I wanted to share. This came up this morning. I was hunting this book. I was like, book You Better Show Itself. I've got to share this with everybody. And you have about 5 minutes to reveal where your location is. And luckily, the book thought about its life goals and it showed itself to me. And it's called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. I don't know if any of you have heard that book. It started out as a self published book. And then Hay House picked it up. And it's just, I don't know. I've had it for years and years, and I've actually um, written a blog post on it. But the regret piece. I wanted to share what the 5 regrets are. She's been a caretaker, and I want to say it was in Australia, and she would go to people's houses to help them pass and to be with them. And over time, she started noticing that people started saying similar things, like the same regrets over and over. So just for our own like moment benefit, like right now, regret number one, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Mm. Regret number two, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Regret number three, I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. This is where I really think the animals help us, because we show them our feelings, and they show us theirs. They don't cloak those. Regret number four, I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. Regret number five, I wish I'd let myself be happier. I don't know if any of those hit you, but I remember when I read them and I was like, this is a wonderful book that teaches us about living. I know I need all the guidance, and I often think about these 5 regrets. I'm sure there are more, but let's all try not to have regrets. We do the best we can, and we go forward with that. Let's use the energy from the past to bring things into the present moment awareness. Again, where the animals live only 100% of the time, so they're the best teachers. So if they give us so much, how can we honor their lives both while they're here and after they passed? So I love living memories, living memorials, making the lives that our loved ones live no matter now and evermore. And I know a lot of you tell me the things that you do for your animals, that you share with them. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. So memorials to me are like that Elizabeth Barrett Browning quote, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. Um, Patricia says, what's the significance of the rainbow bridge with dogs? I saw a rainbow boat after the vet took my dog. I exclaimed, I knew Brownie was special because I saw the rainbow. Why are rainbows associated with dogs passing? I think rainbows, and I would actually have to look up the actual origin of that, but rainbows in themselves are signs of hope and signs of eternity. They're literally signs in the sky, heaven sent. And so I feel like, just on an energetic level, who doesn't stop when there's a rainbow and just go, wow? And you feel really special, right? You feel like, oh my gosh, my day just got so much better because of that rainbow. So the rainbow bridge, from what the animals have told me, is this energetic pathway that is a portal from this world to the next, and the next back to this world. So it's if you can picture the rainbow bridge being kind of busy, it is. It's very busy. It's got great energy to it, very transparent, because spirit is transparent, right? So it's very, very high energy. And I think the rainbow bridge goes for all, animals that we've just referenced, that um, to associate with the animals. I don't know that we say people cross the rainbow bridge as much, right? Um, it's, it's heaven's light, as Martine says, and Marianne, an absolute beautiful place, like a utopia. I agree. And, I know I love seeing them, and I always try to capture a photo of them. So, um, the portal piece is why they're associated, because it's like it's like the not the yellow brick road, but the energetic way we get from one, for lack of a better word, side to another. So hopefully that helps, Patricia. Um, but when we're talking about after they've passed, like how do we possibly count the ways, all the ways that I love thee? How do we possibly, you know, I like creating what I call memory markers for them on earth. We allow the love energy to continue forward. And so I'd like to know, just if you give a minute in your comments, what are the ways you've honored your pet? You know, if you share in the comments, the beauty of that is it's a shared experience. And we get to see that maybe your idea is something we haven't even thought of. And it gives us maybe an inspiration to do something similar. That's why I always like hearing your thoughts on things and hearing your perspective. Um, and that way, by sharing, your loved one's energy flows out as a gift to all of us as well, which I'm all about sharing, and I'm all about um, the teamwork that we pull together with. Um, Jeff says, I created a shadow box with Daisy's pictures and her harness and leash. Oh, I love that. That's really, really beautiful. And I'm guessing you put it in a special place where you get to see it a lot. She would want a prominent place, by the way. Just saying. Jennifer said planting a rose bush or some kind of flower in the garden. Love it. Adrian, I call them to my dreams from one last visit. Yes, I like that. I hadn't thought about it that way. I'm all about dreams. I'm like, bring it on, visit me. I love your dreams. So I like you calling that energy in a lot, because a lot of it's just we put our intentions out there and ask, what is it we need? We need a sign. We need this. We need that. Um, and then what the best thing to say is just surprise me. Just surprise me. Um, I love that. And I might be mispronouncing Jamoon. Is that it? In memory of my two dogs, I've applied to foster dogs. I love that, because that's a continuing honor of them. And I'm wondering, were your dogs fosters first and then rescues? How did they come to you? But I love that that energy is continuing on. Marianne says, I put her collar on a planter. Yeah, what a great idea, actually. I don't know if you can see in the background of my head doesn't get in the way, but I've got their collars back there, and Katie and Murphy and Rosie. Um, Collars are special, right? It's like a piece of clothing. Patty says, the ultimate honor is to share your love with another deserving soul. Mm, beautifully said. I agree. Because, you know, hearts are meant to love. And if we don't feel we can love, we suffer terribly. That's why it's so awful when we lose one, because we feel like that peace where we were so fulfilled loving is gone, even though it's not. But it does take a process and a minute. Tammy says she donates to several pet rescues, has portraits, has their faces, paw prints, and names tattooed on my left upper arm. Like it. So they are close to my heart. I like that. All these ways. And these are so helpful. I'm going to share a list here in the minute, but wow, you all, you've got a lot of great ideas. Um, Kara said, I adopted Stetson from a shelter in honor of Tank. Stephanie says, Brandy is in our curio cabinet. I put twinkle lights around her. It makes me feel like her light is always with us, like she is present with me still. She absolutely is. She absolutely is. And I love that you're using the energy of light tremendously. That's it's a real thing. So you were intuitively guided to do that, I'm sure. And it keeps that light shining. She's very shiny, she says. Um, Janet said, Grace calendar. I take her messages and photos and create a calendar. I just ran into that calendar or two this morning, actually. So Grace is gracing us with her presence through you. You know that you all are channelers, right? When you're sharing this, it's your animals that are guiding you to share it. Um, Heather says, I have a small vase that my mama gave me before she passed away. Every week I fill it with some kind of flower to put on Birdie's box of ashes. I do this every week. Love it. It makes me happy, and I know it makes Birdie happy to see the flower in remembrance of her. I really like that. I think that's quite lovely, and it does. It keeps freshening up things. It keeps us um, present in the moment with something live. I really do like that. Susie says, I also volunteer at the animal shelter preparing donations that come in. Um, and nice to see you, Sarah. I had a picture done of Mitts in fused glass, and a friend painted a fabulous picture of her. Oh, you'll have to share it. Also, I make donations to the charity she came from in her name. And you also have welcomed another one into your home. You'll have to tell us how she is doing. Uh, Before we get off the show, we'd love to hear that. Dee says, I got my first tattoo for Sammy as well. Well, y'all are just going to send me to get a tattoo. Um, Wendy says, I had my iguana, now two cats, and my bunny cremated. They sit in each of their own beautiful small walnut back box in my glass cabinet. I rescued a dog this past October, Zoe, in memory of all my fur babies. Wow. Love continues, right? I mean, it continues on and on. Um, you all have these wonderful ways that you're sharing and ideas for us all. She is called Sarah said she is called Trixie, and she has settled in really well. She is very pretty and a thief. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love that we're already collecting these, attributes, these really special things that we can remember about someone. Um Angeline says she is my screensaver on all my devices, which makes me smile many times a day. That's a great energy, right? Because who doesn't have a phone these days? When I've done talks, I usually will start it by, how many of you have photos of your pets on your phone? And every hand raises in the audience. It's a great way, right? It's a great way to have them close to us. You all are energetically connected, so you're naturally doing things that make you feel more connected. So I just want to validate that for you all because these things are intuitively guided. You're actually communicating with your pet when you are just, oh, I think, well, I'll put them on my phone. There's an energetic kind of nudge that goes with that. Thank your pet for that. Thank your pet for your ideas. Even when they're here, I mean, they're constantly trying to get through to us. Janet says, Katie is buried on the hill in front of my house overlooking what's a coolie. And Katie requested to plant something pretty there in the spring, and we'll get a portrait of her painted. Oh, I love that she requested to plant something pretty there in the spring. Animals do have requests. Absolutely. And sometimes people when, with ashes, they'll say, what does my animal want me to do with the ashes? And I know in my case, it's been different with every animal. It's just something, it's a practice actually that I tune in to see if they have any preferences. Some don't have preferences. They don't actually mind what happens. It's like, you take care of that for me. I'm good. Um, I had a lot of ashes one time a couple years ago from ones I hadn't spread. And all of a sudden, one March windy day, I decided it was time. And the releasing that got done that day was enormous. And I felt all their spirits and all their energy. And so pay attention to those kind of intuitive nudges that you get because they're real and they're right. Your first hit is the right hit. It's when our head steps in later that we start questioning it. Michelle says, I have photos of all my fur babies with their ashes and paw prints on my fireplace in my bedroom, and I say goodnight to them every night and hope they are watching over me. They 100% are watching over you. What an honoring. What an honoring of life. Thank you. And Kat says, Cisco puppy asked to be remembered under the corkscrew willow tree he always slept under. Mm. And Patricia, Maggie's ashes beside my bed and a red heart. And when I die, my family knows to spread us both in a beautiful garden. So lovely. So lovely. You're already doing your own memory markers. So, Renee, if you would put up, I'm going to share some I came up with and some that have been shared with me. So, if you take a look at that, you know, some suggestions: designate an area or room in your home to honor them. You know, for lack of a better word, calling it an altar, but you know what I mean, a special area that and if you have children, the children can participate in this, um, and ask them what makes their heart smile when they do it. That's another thing. So just an area that you can put special things around it. And then this is Deanna. She shared this photo and she said, she's created a garden area outside, and you can add special things as you find them, like feathers, crystals, small, meaningful things. Um, she says from the kitchen she can see it, and at night the wind charm catches the porch light and sparkles. And what she said in her reaching out to me: to all who have come before and all those who have yet to come, honor and appreciation. Isn't this lovely? I mean, even now with animals, you can create their own area, their own space, as it were. The garden does look so peaceful, doesn't it? I agree. Um, so, Renee, if you would put the next one up, I want to share something. So, you could put a special inscription on something like a bench. So I was in the Betty Ford Gardens in Vale a couple of years ago, and I was wandering. This caused me to stop in my tracks and really be with it a moment. It says, in case you can't read it, or, in memory of our mother, Cindy Starr Hunter Hutchinson. She will forever love us more than the stars and the moon. She was hilarious. Love, Kelly and Dana. Oh my gosh, I couldn't walk by this without taking this photo. In fact, I backed up. I walked by and I just was like, that energy off of that was so lovely. And it was such a nice, sweet thing to say, not just, that she'll love us more than the stars and the moon, which is very, very touching, but also that she was hilarious. What a great memory of her. And now I feel like, because I've read that I know her, so you could put something personal or special about the pet. I also have walked on a lake, and I ran across the bench that was dedicated in honor. It was like a public lake, dedicated in honor of their dog, and it was like, uh, the dog's name was Carla, and it gave the dates. They called her Good Dog Carla. Never met a better hiker than she. So it's wonderful because then we get to see who they were, and we didn't even know them. That's the energy, um, continuing on. So another idea is, and I shared this, Renee, if you would put up the superstar card, is to do a superstar card for them. Write a star card for them. You can do this now. You can do it a number of times. You can do this for people, for kids. It's just a really fun way to honor somebody. I did it for my friend who's 87, going to be 88 this year, and gave it to him for Christmas. All the things that I saw about him, all the things that he had shared with me. Frame it and display it somewhere where you will see it frequently. And I was lucky enough, Jennifer shared her star card that she did for Franny, who's a little dog that passed. Renee, if you would put that up, I'll read it to you. It's beautifully done. So, the full name: Frances Baby Lagana. Little bit: Franny, Fran Man. Personality: sweetheart. Loved her. Squeaky toy: small but mighty. Alpha of the pack. Snuggler. Couldn't wait to eat in the morning. I was scared in hell because she'd hop up and demand breakfast. Loved meeting new people on our walks. Best known for her pacemaker. No one could believe a dog had a pacemaker. Favorite memories: swimming in Navajo Lake, summer 2021. Quirky habit: pooping in the Jeep from anxiety, swinging her rear out to the side to pee. Nobel Prize: unconditional love. Starring in Dirty Dancing as Frances Baby. Nobody backs baby into a corner. Gifts shared. Living in the moment. Perseverance. Laughter. Protection. Pure joy. My happiest moments were just sitting back and watching her. She sure did love her G-Ma and G-Pa, Uncle Mike and Uncle Phil, but Mommy was her absolute favorite. Isn't that great? Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing this so we can share together, and for Franny uh, leading us to help us understand ways that we can honor everybody, um, not just after they've passed, but now. So, Renee, if you would put up the next ideas. So, memory stone. We probably all know about those, but just in case, you could do the etching like was on that little bench. It's an outward way to preserve their importance, but in truth, that is already etched in your heart. Plant something in honor of them each year. Bulbs in the fall, special spring flowers, a tree. Somebody mentioned that earlier. I'm particularly fond, me personally, of forget-me-not flowers in the spring and early summer. Plants and seeds represent new life, new growth, rebirth. Really good energy. Make a collage of their life and times with you. Ask your pet to help you pick his favorite ones. It's a surefire way to connect and communicate with your loved one. Seriously. Yeah, a lot of these that I'm sharing, you're going to connect right in and you're going to get assistance. And I'd ask assistance, like, which would you like me to use? And so, Renee, if you'd put up the next one, do you have a video of your pet barking or meowing or making a signature move? I've got a client that has a dog named Johnny Appleseed, and Johnny, adorable. Johnny Appleseed does this slide move when he hears music, like Michael Jackson. He is so cute. Um, Use an app called Splice or Canva to create a collage of their life and times with music behind it. The very act of creating this brings them back to your heart as a living memory. Keep their memory alive and active by remembering and sharing, when stories. Those are great, and those are great to use with kids as well. And this is a good one too. Designate a special time of the year, perhaps a birthday or when they came to you, to honor them all day long. We could do this for kids too. For instance, let there be a Grace's Day or Franny's Day or Frida's Day. And let there be so many of the days from all of you that have reached out, Sammy's Day and Bella's Day, Cammy's Day. It's just such a wonderful way to honor them. And Renee, if you would put up the next one. Burn a candle in their honor. This is powerful. Read a message out loud from you to them. Your voice carries energy from your heart into the world. This is a very, very powerful exercise and practice, for it literally invokes their spirit to come join you. You'll be able to feel it in your heart and soul. You can do this anytime you want to connect. It's particularly powerful, if we're going into a new year and we're at the end of the year, or on the anniversary of their passing, the anniversary of their coming, anything that feels like you feel guided to do this. It's fire is transformative energy, even candle fire. So the last one is, I think, the last one before I share something else. Identify the gifts they shared with you and take them forward in your life. What better honor for the life they lived with you? What did they teach you? What have you learned you wouldn't have otherwise? Tell them. Tell them now. So if you're ready, Renee, if you'd put up that next slide, I want to warn you ahead of time. We've got a powerful exercise ahead. You may feel inspired in ways you've never dreamed of. I always loved this. Wayne Dyer used to say, inspiration really means in spirit. So I wanted to share what the animals wanted me to share with you. So if you're ready, Renee, if you'll put up that next slide. Let's call them heart smiles. So as we went through and I told you about the memory marker suggestions, pick one or two that you resonated most with, or one that you saw with people that were sharing on the comments. Pick the ones that caught your heart, the ones that stopped you for a moment, like that bench about the mom did me. Apparently, I was meant to see that, because I did stop and I really, really took it in, and it just touched me so deeply. Okay, number two, read to yourself slowly allowing the words to penetrate your entire being. So, with this not being right in front of you right now, and I can post it later, if you remembered any of those words, just allow them to penetrate. And then pick one that really feels right. Close your eyes and drop into your heart space. We're already there, by the way, in the show. So we've already created the energetic incubator for that. So you're in a good space. 3 or 4, feel your heart open. It'll activate all your chakras and it opens up the channel for heart communication, direct connection. This is the direct line. It may come as an expanding warmth. Some of you have already, you know, mentioned that in the comments that you felt this warmth. That's great. Some of you won't. Trust that it's here because I can feel it in the room. It's very, very present. Ask your pet to help you pick one that would be most meaningful at this time. So Renee, if you'd put that next one up. So don't try. This isn't a class to get a grade on. Just be. Y'all are really good at that. Images may flash, words, ideas, feelings. If you have a pen and paper or your little Soul Speak notebook, be ready to jot them down, even if they don't make sense, even if it's something you're thinking about you want to do later. I want to confirm for you that you're actually channeling. This is channeling in the best of ways. Note to self, we're always channeling something. We're channeling anger, we're channeling friendliness, we're channeling kindness. Think about it a minute. We're always channeling something. This is like intentional channeling. Don't have an idea. Just be open. So if you do this later, and if you're doing it now, you may notice the energy levels off. Check in with your body and your energy field, and note how you feel at this moment. Just touching into ways that you could honor your loved one. So energy rises and falls like a wave, and you can usually think about conversations, how they rise and fall and they end, and they get really intense and then they drop off. That's what that is. So what resonated, what came to you during this? What resonated most? Did you get a spark of a new idea or a new energy to do something? Were you inspired, like we talked about? And I wanted to point out, inspiration is always present moment, alive energy, always in the now. So have you been inspired to do anything different? I am inspired myself to help create a way for you all to send seeds, and they may be forget me not, to people who have lost animals. People that oftentimes we don't know what to say. So I'm working on a project with my good friend Estefania, who has this beautiful flower farm, and creating these packets that I can then offer for you all to remember somebody, to just say, I'm sorry, and here's something to plant where love goes on. So that's a to be continued, but that's what I'm inspired to do. What are you inspired to do today? There's so many ways. And ask your animals. We just checked in with our animals. So Renee, if you'd put up that next slide. So memory markers and heart smiles are powerful ways to open the doors to all communication, here and in spirit. You all have the ability to connect with your loved one. All of you do. And the animals are wanting us to remember that all it takes is our hearts, which we already are connected to them, right? We're already connected. So if that's all it takes, then we come equipped with communication skills. So let's continue to open those heart chakras and uh, open to the idea of, oh, wow, I can communicate too. I just didn't realize it. All these exercises I've given you, all these suggestions are actually pointers, they're jump starters for you to dive in on what resonates. And what resonates, follow that trail. Follow the trail of what resonates for you. Deanna says, love the bench idea, incorporating their picture along with the words. Wouldn't that? Yes, I agree. And Dee says, I'm going to make blankets out of fleece and send one home with each of our shelter dogs when they go to their forever home. Oh my goodness, I love that, Dee. When I had a gift store, we would order from this company with little small blankets, and we would embroider their name on on them and send them. When I had so many puppies, that's what I would also do before they went to um, the just the right family that had shown up. It was something that carrying of energy out in the world is so important, so important. So I love that. Jennifer says, I just received the idea. I'm a football fan. I'm going to put together a football team of all my past dogs. I love that. I can see exactly what position each would play, and it's hysterical. I will share later. Maybe someone can draw it up for me. What a great idea. I love that. And see, we are channeling fresh, new ideas together. That's what happens when we get together on this show. We never know what we're going to create. Um, and Kara says, I made a necklace out of her tail hair. I'd love to hear all of your different ways that you honor them, and all the days that you get, all the ways you get inspired. Because you know what? Your inspiration inspires me and inspires others. So, Renee, if you'll put up some photos and questions while uh, I'm still looking at these comments, that'd be great, because the animals brought us together. They will always bring us together, and it's getting livelier, by the way. Deidre says, I love the bench idea, and we'll plant some annuals to create a nice sanctuary. Love the word, where I can sit, relax, and meditate just to think about the babies. I honor that. So this is Pretzel that came to me on Monday and wanted to make sure he got my attention, um, coming ahead of time, gathering in. He's very, very lively feeling to me, and he's only been gone 4 weeks ago, which is very new. And I'm sure the grief and the sadness, Michelle, are just uh, you know, I want to say stumbling. It makes me stumble to think about it. Um, but he was very insistent on coming through for us all. I have a sense that our times together, especially going forward, are going to get more active with the animals, if that is possible. They will be communicating more and more. And as each of you uh, grow with me and Pretzel, he's like, yeah, tell him, tell him we've all got to get together, and this is really important. So, you know, while you miss him, and I understand, I want to thank you and I thank Pretzel, because also what came to me was, I wonder if you could call a dog Prezi. So I don't know if you ever did that, but it's so clear, and I know it's so hard. Of course, it would be hard. Grief just doesn't pop up and go away in 1 second. That grief means we're fully human. We've got to honor that process too. But he's very lively. Was very insistent that he get all. He's using the word bright. I'm bright. We've got to brighten up people. We've got to brighten them up to know that we're here. So thank you for sharing him. Sending a lot of love and support to you and to all of you who have lost. But let's keep that love connection going. Renee, if you would put the next one up. This is Syra. Um, I just like to know she is happy and that she understood the decision I made to say goodbye. It was so hard, but she was unable to walk properly due to collapsing front leg and had fallen and wet herself a few times, and I couldn't let her hurt herself. She's using the word, and this is Mitz, using the word compassion with me, that you have a compassionate heart, that you are a walking compassionate heart, and that you were the kindness in a world that hadn't been so kind. she says. And so she is so appreciative of you. It's interesting because she just said, um, being with me every step of the way. And I'm just looking at what you said, that due to a collapsing front leg, you were there every step. And the steps you're taking now are really important as well with any other animal that comes into your path. She's actually a guide. I'm feeling her guiding you. Um, yeah, you're a compassionate witness to her, and you will be for all animals. Thank you for sharing. I hope that helps. This is Marianne. I want to know if she's okay with the things I've done since she's passed in order to make her story known and honor her life. This picture is special since it shows a pillow I bought for her that says, "You are my sunshine." I would sing that song to her, but I would change it up and put her name in the song. The pillow remains where it always was. I love that you're doing things to honor. And a lot of times we will use the word memorialize, and for some reason, I've always um, and I've used it in this show, but I always like the word honor. To honor a soul, regardless of whether they're here or they've passed, we still honor them. So whatever you are doing, stories are meant to be told. Stories are healing. We all have stories to tell. And the animals are extraordinary storytellers, even after they've passed. So I love that you're including her in your life now and going forward. Keep singing to her. She really likes the singing, loves the singing, and loves that you've left the pillow exactly where it was. This is Shirley. She had anything but an easy passing into heaven, and I want to know how she is on the other side. I'm totally beside myself, having meltdowns every day over this. I'm so sorry. I understand that piece. The vet came to my home and she had a reverse reaction to the drug that was supposed to first calm her. The look on her face was horrific and she was jumping all around and totally panic stricken. You know what I'm feeling from this, Shirley, is she was actually out of her body when this was happening, even though to us it doesn't certainly look like this. It was obviously an extreme reaction to the moment, but she says she popped out. I get this like little light feeling with her, even though the opposite was what you were seeing. And what she doesn't, I appreciate you reaching out because I don't know if you've used, I just keep seeing the word melt in what you have written. And I don't know if there's something about that word of importance with you and meltdowns. She wants you to call on her when you have what you would consider a meltdown. Oh, okay. She's saying, Mom, it looked like I was having a meltdown like you do. You know what I'm talking about, Mom? Call me when you're having those meltdowns and I will be with you just like you were with me. Wow. Um, very, very active, very, again, a lively, lively energy with her and wants to help you know you did nothing wrong. You actually were by her side and helped calm her, even though the reaction in the body was the opposite. She doesn't want you to be panic stricken anymore. Ask for her to help, to ask her to come to you, and then do some of these things we talked about on the show. I really think you'll be able to connect with her, which is what your heart's really wanting. Hopefully that helps. This is Nick. There seems to be a connection between empaths and cats wherein we both decide when and how to engage in others while also needing some time to be by ourselves and regroup. How can I and my cat, Zoja, continue to energize ourselves and each other as we move forward in life? Zoja, if this is the one I'm thinking it was, Nick, that went missing one time and she really went on a lark by herself, but she needed time. She needed space. And so, of course, you would be paired up with cats. Cats are in charge of spaces. They have to have their own space. Think about it. Even if you have cats together, they choose who their friends are. They own the spaces they are in. I think both of you are, I want to say protectors of space, but also you respect space. And so, you know, I think the balance is in knowing when you need that space and when you feel energetically crowded. But I think you are very in tune, and the cats work with you energetically on this piece that helps others who actually have no boundaries understand how important it is for space. So I hope that helps, Nick. And I can't believe, oh, good, good. We have one more. I was like, oh no, we're out of time. Brenda says, how do I know the best way to honor my dog? What type of signs should I be looking for? I continue to walk the park, used to roll around all and take her a puppuccino from Starbucks. Oh, Brenda, I love that all these pieces, what you're doing. I see signs in oh gosh, those photos. Um, she's leading you to those places, by the way. I don't know if you think you're doing it on your own, but no, she's helping you and she's liking that you're following her ideas about taking her a puppuccino from Starbucks. She's really liking that. She has no intentions of being left out in anything. So I would encourage you as you do these things and as you walk the park, just get into your heart and space and see how you feel. That's the connection piece that we all have our own signature way. And I'm like, I feel them right there with me. Thank you for sharing that. These are great photos and they give us actually great ideas. Well, our time's come to an end, but you know what? It never comes to an end because we always are connected. We always go forward. And I love that you come back and join us. So let's always keep the conversation going. And I think my next show is 322. Animals are already whispering what they want to talk about next. I'll see you next time.
You've been enjoying Tammy's Soul Speak featuring animal intuitive and medium Tami Hendricks.